Alright, let's understand the principle of continued behavior and change in behavior and see how we can make that functional, see how we can use that. It's an underlying principle that we can use with many methods, lines, gaps, swings, or even create our own methods by isolating something that's continuing and repeating itself. We're finding some organized behavior in a market that looks chaotic. And it helps us, number one, to form things up. There's many ways to use this when it's fully understood, and it's very simple. It's either continuing or changing. The first step is to look here and find something that's doing the same thing. We're going to use, like I said, we can use many things, but we're going to use swings. So a new low confirms a swing high, and I got plenty of blog videos on this. And so what I'm going to use specifically is the size of the reaction leg. So this will be the impulse leg, that will be the reaction leg. And what I'm going to look for in continued behavior is the size of a reaction leg. Like I said, we can do this with gaps, trend lines, anything we want, but we're going to use the reaction leg of a swing. And we're going to find two of them that are doing the same thing. And this will help us, give us a clue as to what's price doing and when it's going to change. So for instance, we look, we see a nice gap, we fill the gap, we make a new high, we're currently coming down. So when I look at this chart, and I've done a little practice, I can see that there's some behavior here that's quite organized. It's doing the same thing. It's continuing in this particular behavior. So notice I don't have two same size swings of this or of this or of this. And so this shows us, without having a crystal ball or making a bunch of predictions, that the players in this market have organized themselves up to show themselves. They're showing themselves in some way by doing a continued repeating behavior. They've now, it's like throwing dust on the invisible man. We now see something. And I'm going to use reaction legs to know when that changes. So I can see automatically something is changing here. There's something changing here. And now we've taken out a high. See, we were swinging down at about that length, and now we're not. And so what I can do from here is, since swings swing, I can look at the swing the other way. So this is one way I would use change in behavior. For example, I would do something like this, and I would use change in behavior because I can see a solid change in behavior. They were doing this. They've done it. They repeated themselves. They're not doing that anymore. It's plain and simple. And so that's one way we can use change in behavior. There's many ways. But either way, I know something's changed. I mean, the fact is, if I just draw a line, look, they ain't doing that anymore. Okay, we looked at change in behavior. Now we're going to look at continued behavior. I'm going to use the 20-minute yen. This is something we did in the live sessions for some time as an example here of continued behavior. Now remember, we're doing this relative to same size reaction legs to identify our continued behavior. So first we need to be able to isolate some swings. And as we see, we have at least two confirmed swings making the same size leg. This is signifying a continued behavior. Now, we always have the choice of pushing right along this continued behavior. And so this is what we did in this yen market. So as chaotic as this looks, we're just using swings here. That's it. And so every time this thing pivots, we're looking to see if we can jump on with that continued behavior. And as we make another swing, we're looking to see if we can push that continued behavior again. Now, we never know when a market's going to change, but whether you're trading it or not trading it, this is going to tell you exactly when it's going to change, just because you have the ability to draw this one line and isolate swings. And so eventually this market told us, hey, we're not doing that anymore. We're going the other way for a little while. And so it's a very simple way you can actually just play continued behavior, and sometimes that's the mood the market's in. But as a basic principle, you can look at any chart and use this continued behavior or change in behavior. And you can use it relative to, I'm using same size swings, but you can do the same with gaps, mountains, a trend line. Understand the essence of a principle, and then we can create different ways. It's very simple. They're not doing that anymore.